Hello everyone and welcome to the Roadie Psychology Podcast, the podcast where travel meets psychology. My name is Pamela and you guessed it, I'm a psychologist with a passion for travel. In Roadie Psychology, we meet travelers and psychologists who share their adventure stories through concepts of psychology. For this very first episode, I would like to start by asking you a question. Have you ever told yourself, next Monday, I'm going to start working out? Or, for this new year, I'm going to start painting, eat more veggies, or even meditate daily. Or again, I'm 25 now. I'm going to start drinking more water. Sounds familiar? Well, this, my friend, is called the fresh start effect. Let's see what it's all about. According to the fresh start effect, people are more likely to take actions towards a goal after a key date that represents new beginnings. So what does this mean? Well, when a special occasion is about to happen, you feel extra motivated to achieve some new goals. A very common example of that is Mondays. For some weird reasons, we decide that this Monday we'll start doing this or we'll stop doing that. Now, we all know that this motivation doesn't always work. And it sometimes fades away. So we just wait for another Monday to come and we can start again. Good news is, there are plenty of them. But it's not only about Mondays, not even about the 1st of January. This effect also motivates you when you're going through bigger life-changing moments, such as starting a new job or moving to another country. The fresh start effect is like a reset button. It can help you disconnect from your past self so you can get closer to your better future self. It can make you feel better and more confident about your new you. For this very first conversation, we'll travel to New Zealand and Canada with Belle to talk about her own fresh start. She will teach us a valuable lesson that we can all learn from. That is, we can all create our own fresh start whenever we want. I hope that Belle will inspire you as much as she inspired me. So, are you guys ready? Let's hit the road. Hello, Belle, and thank you so much for being here with me.
That's okay. Thanks for having me.
So I was going to ask if you could introduce yourself a little bit before we start.
Okay. So my name is Belle. I'm 24 years old and I'm currently living in Wanaka, New Zealand, after coming back from Canada. And I was there for 2 years.
Nice. So you're originally from New Zealand, right?
Yeah, but I've sort of moved around a bit. I did sort of half here, half Australia growing up. And then, I just moved overseas when I got a bit older.
Oh, nice. So has travel kind of been part of your entire life then?
Sort of. I mean, I got to do lots of national travel as a kid, between here and Australia sort of going around, but my first time properly overseas was when I moved.
So when you moved to Canada then?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So why did you choose Canada?
What did I do?
Why did you choose Canada?
Oh, I just wanted to try something different. I thought there wasn't much going on where I was living, and it was coming into winter, so it was going to be really cold. I'm not a fan of the cold.
Fair enough.
So I was like, why not go to Canada? It was there. It was all open, so I just went for it.
Yeah, fair enough. So what were you doing before that here in New Zealand?
Well, I was studying in Nelson, doing an adventure tourism course, and then I was working in Able Tasman.
Yeah.
And then the season finished and I thought it's time to move on.
You were working in the water taxi, right?
I was, yeah.
Did you enjoy that?
I did. I thought it was so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I worked there as well. The season after you were gone. I kind of took your job, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. So
yeah, it's a really cool team up there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just amazing, the view and everything. It was honestly the best thing I did in New Zealand. So
yeah.
How was it going to Canada? Was it kind of like a fresh start for you?
Yeah, it definitely was. It was sort of the first time I'd really stepped out of my comfort zone. So I guess it was a fresh start in that sense.
Yeah, and so can you tell me a little bit about that? Like what does it mean, like stepping out of your comfort zone? Is it just because it's far, or is it because of things you thought you were going to do? Or how was it out of your comfort zone?
So I'm like quite a shy person. I'm not really great with change. So I thought the only way to sort of get over that is to just do something about it myself. So yeah, I just saw Canada and thought, yep, that's where I'm going to go.
Yeah, that's nice. So you said it was your first big travel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so how did you feel like in the few months before going there? Like how long before leaving did you decide to go?
Probably about 2 months.
Okay, so that's quite quick when you think about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I sort of made the decision. I got a job about 2 weeks after I decided I wanted to do it. And then the other 6 weeks was just kind of waiting around for the visa to come through.
Oh, yeah.
And then, yeah, it was all very quick.
So when you said you got a job, you mean like you got a job set up over there already?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I just applied online to a couple of positions and, yeah, I signed a contract a few weeks later, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. So it was kind of like, since you say you're shy, was it kind of reassuring to know that you had something secure in place?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was important for me to have something to go to, like even if it was just a job or a place to live, but just having a little bit of security was nice and sort of reassuring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean, because when I came to New Zealand as well, I had a workaway set up, because I was like, okay, I don't know where I'm going to go yet, but at least for the first 2 weeks, I've got something. So I definitely know that feeling of security, especially when for you it was your first big travel and you only had 2 months to prepare. So I bet that's quite intense in a way.
Yeah, it was definitely a leap of faith, but it was honestly one of the best decisions I ever made. So worked out in the end.
Yeah. So where in Canada did you first go?
So I went to Vancouver.
Yeah.
And then I went to a little town north of there, like an hour north, called Squamish.
Yeah.
And that's where I lived for 2 summers. And then in winter I lived in a town called Fernie.
Okay, so whereabouts is that? Is that still in the Vancouver area, or?
No, it's in the Kootenay region. So it's kind of closer to Calgary. It's a bit more inland.
Oh yeah. Man, that sounds like kind of fun.
So it was cool. It was like right on the border of the Rockies, so I got to experience a full-on Canadian winter.
Oh, nice. That must have been so cold, though.
Oh, so cold. So cold.
It's funny because you say that you left New Zealand because the season was coming to an end and it was going to get cold. So you're like, oh, let's just go to Canada. Obviously, it was summer there when you arrived, right?
Mm.
But
yeah, well, the initial plan was just to go for the summer and then go back to the Able Tasman and sort of just do back-to-back summers.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but then I was having so much fun over there, I thought, oh, may as well stay.
So what exactly made you change your mind? Just the fun and the fact that you enjoyed it, or?
It sort of got to the end of the season, like the summer season over there, and I just wasn't really ready to come back to New Zealand. I was like, there's so much more I want to see, there's so much more I want to do. And so, yeah, I just thought, you know what, I'll stay for a winter, I'll brave the cold.
Yeah. And so going back to when you first arrived there, how did you feel when you just arrived in Canada, you step out of the plane. How do you feel then?
I was pretty scared, but I was also very lucky. I was seated next to a lovely guy on the plane who was like the friendliest Canadian. It's such a stereotype, but he was so, so friendly. And he actually ended up being one of my good friends over there.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, so it was quite comforting having him there, but yeah, definitely scared. Definitely sort of questioned myself a little bit whether or not it was a good decision, but I think it was, yeah, definitely a good decision.
Yeah, that's nice. And so did you already know anyone there, or that was just that you going?
I didn't know anyone. I knew like the names of my employers.
Yeah.
And then I'd sort of spoken to them on like FaceTime and Zoom just to like organize when I was getting there. But apart from that, I didn't know anyone.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So that's a big jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. And so can you maybe so I think the people that are going to be listening to this podcast, they like to travel. So could you maybe like explain where you lived, like visually or with the sounds, and just explain how it was? And yeah.
Okay. Where I lived. So Squamish is kind of like, it's the adventure capital of Canada, or BC, I think that's what they call it. But it's basically where the coast meets the mountains. So you have, it's in the end of a sound.
Okay.
So you've got sort of the ocean there, and there's boats and windsurfing and everything, and then literally the town's just surrounded by mountains. It's so beautiful. It's there's sort of something for everyone. Yeah. If you want to do rock climbing or hiking, you can do that. If you want to do surfing or water sports, you can do that. It's really, yeah, it's sort of a town of all trades.
Yeah, that's nice. And so when you decided to go to Canada, then did you set new specific goals just because you went to Canada, or kind of like a reset button in your life?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think I set personal goals, sort of like give everything a go. Make sure that if someone asks you to do something, obviously within reason, but just give everything a go. Just say yes to any opportunities that sort of come your way. So I think that was my own personal goal that I set for myself. Yeah, that was probably the biggest thing, was just like personal growth for me.
Yeah, okay. So I feel like that kind of goes with the whole stepping out of your comfort zone. It was not only the place where you live, but it's also as the way you lived life in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like I was there for 2 days, and then there was a work party, and they offered for me to go bungee jumping, and bungee jumping is something that I've never ever wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it. I don't regret doing it, but I will never be doing it again.
So since now you live near Queenstown, you haven't done it then?
No, not yet. No, well, I don't think I will.
Yeah, I've done the swing multiple times, but then every time I get the adrenaline rush and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go bungee jumping, and then I just can't push the buy button, like I said everything and then I just can't book it.
Yeah, no, I think the swing would be really cool because, like, again, someone's doing it for you. I think not like just saying that it's like a cop out or anything, but yeah, bungee jumping, because you have to jump off yourself.
Yeah.
It just makes it that much worse.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. And just like as a little sidetrack here, I went to do the swing a few months ago for the first time. And so this time I wanted to do it upside down. But there was
my God.
Because I was like, I've done it 4 times already, so might as well go crazy, And there was a little problem with the swing. So what happened is that, because just like you, for me, it's the no control. I don't want control. Otherwise I can't. But what happened is that my shoe stuck the piece that just detached itself to the pits that just hold me up. And so I had to do it myself in the end, because I had to move my shoe so that I could fall, if that makes sense. And I was like, I wanted no control, and I had to do it in the end. So it was terrible, but I loved it.
Have you ever been on those water slides where it's like a little tube and then the bottom just drops?
No.
Oh, they've got them like in lots of theme parks and water parks and stuff. And I could never bring myself to do it because I don't know. I guess someone's pulling the button for you, but yeah, it's just, you can sort of tell when it's going to drop. And yeah, that's sort of similar to bungee jumping.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't know if I could. Yeah. All right. Well, going back to Canada. So you said that one of your main goals was just to say yes, right?
Yeah.
And so, did you reach that goal? Like, how did that go?
Yeah, I came out of my shell quite a lot. I became a lot more independent through that. I met a lot more people that I probably would never have met. Yeah, I think it worked out really well for me, and it's kind of like a mentality that I've adapted more now, that like I want to keep saying yes to things.
Yeah. So besides that, what did you learn about yourself then, saying yes and going to Canada?
I'd say that I learned my limits.
Yeah.
So there was a point like when I was over there where I did say yes too much, and I was like, okay, I'm in situations that I really don't want to be in. And so I sort of learnt how to judge what situations are good for myself and what's good for like growing up, I guess. Yeah, so that was a really cool lesson learned.
Yeah, and so it's a bit about boundary setting in a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so do you feel like there is a before Canada and after Canada?
Yeah, definitely. I think before Canada I was pretty naive, and just like not in a bad way, just sort of quite sheltered from the world. And then after Canada, I have such a big appreciation for like travel, the ability to travel, and also just an understanding of if you're not happy with what you're doing, you can have a fresh start, no matter where that fresh start is. You can do it, and I think that's a really good takeaway.
Yeah.
From my after Canada experience.
So it feels like you can set your own fresh start in a way, and it doesn't have to be such a big thing as traveling or things like that. It's just something that you decide.
Yeah. I maybe went too big with Canada, but I have no regrets at all. But now it's nice to like coming back to New Zealand. It's sort of like, okay, I can still do fresh starts, but they can be like smaller. They can be in like regional travel or like national travel. It's not limited to sort of extreme, like thousands of kilometers away travel, you know?
Yeah, no, fair enough. And
yeah.
And so how is that coming back? Because after 2 years, I bet things are different.
Yeah, it was a bit of going over there was a culture shock, but then coming back was also a bit of a culture shock, which is weird.
Okay.
Yeah, it was sort of, you notice a lot more about like your family and where you're from and your town and sort of the little, like, I guess, tics that everyone has, just like all the isms, you know, like Kiwi slang or just ways of life, I guess. I didn't realize how different it was to Canada, and then I got really used to sort of Canadian stereotypes and little like quirks, I guess. So coming back, it was kind of like, oh man, I have to relearn my own country all over again.
Yeah, and I bet that must be weird because it's like you've been taken out of your norms and your culture, and so you're seeing it with a new eye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's important to, like, I met some people over there where they just wanted to force their culture on Canadians. And I was like, no, I think it's important that you sort of learn about the culture that you're sort of immersing yourself in. So I found it like quite satisfying to learn about like, Canadian culture and all of their slang words and like what they do for fun over there. And even like the wildlife, that was a really big thing to get used to, just because like you can't put your garbage bins out because there's bears, and it's just things that I would never think of coming from New Zealand.
Yeah. Right. Speaking of that, it's kind of funny because I've lived in the US, right?
Yeah.
And I lived in Iowa where there are a lot of tornadoes. Well, not like a lot, but enough. And when
Yeah.
I first came to New Zealand, one day I heard the fire sirens that you guys have. But it's the
Mm.
same one as the tornado ones in the US. And
Oh my
so
god.
I was like, what is going on? I didn't think New Zealand had tornadoes. And so I was so confused. So it was the bear thing. Like, it just reminded me of that differently.
Yeah,
But
no,
yeah.
that it's just those little quirks that you're like you would never think of.
Yeah. And so do you feel like there is a Canadian belle and a New Zealand belle, you know?
Um, yeah, I don't know. Probably there was definitely a New Zealand belle when she arrived in Canada.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, I think I didn't fully like lose all of my little Kiwiisms, I guess, but I think coming back, there's definitely like I've had people say that I dress Canadian, or like one of my friends said that I had a Canadian accent, and I was like, that's very far from what I hear. But yeah, it's interesting, definitely.
Yeah, I think so as well, because it's kind of like you're not really too completely one or the other anymore. But when you're back in one of the other two country, you're more like the opposite. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So yeah,
kind of. I guess it's not like the grass is always greener, but it's like maybe the grass is like more interesting or something. I don't know.
yeah,
But yeah, it's cool to take away things from everywhere that you've traveled.
yeah. I agree, and I like this little saying that says it's not better, it's not worse, it's just different.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's really nice.
Yeah, and so if you could give one piece of advice to your old self, so what would it be?
Probably be confident with your decisions. Um, yeah, I think like you just got to trust your own instinct, and then like your worst enemy can be yourself. So if you sort of set in your head that you're gonna fail something, then like it may come true because you're thinking like that. So yeah, just have confidence in the decisions that you make and where you're going, and everything should work out in one way or another.
Yeah, I like that. I agree myself. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's nice. And then is there anything else that you would like to add? Like maybe a fun memory, something that really means a lot to you about your travel in Canada?
Um, I'd just say just cherish the moments that you've got, like while you can travel. Obviously, with COVID, it's quite hard, and I think a lot of us definitely took it for granted. Um, so, like, if you have the opportunity to go overseas and have those experiences, just make the most of it. And yeah, you never know what, like, who you'll meet or what you'll get up to, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So I think we're gonna reach the last question. It's a question that I think I'd like to ask every person that comes on the podcast. So you're gonna be the
Mm-hmm.
first one to answer it. I
Okay.
just want to ask, what makes you special?
Ooh. Um, I'd say I do everything with a smile, which sounds really cheesy, but I think if you've got to like if you're smiling through even the toughest situations, like you're already beating them. And I think as long as you're smiling and you're trying something new and you're putting yourself out there, that's all that you can really do.
Yeah. All right. Well, I like that a lot. And thank you for sharing.
That's okay. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to this very first episode of Roadie Psychology. I hope you enjoyed it. This podcast is a fresh start for me as well. So if you'd like to help me gain visibility, please give me a little stars on your favorite listening platform and subscribe to be the first to listen to the next episodes. You can also follow me on Instagram at Roadie Psychology and invite your friends to join us on this journey through psychology. If you have any questions, comments, or if you feel like participating in a podcast, feel free to send me a little message. And finally, for this first episode, I would like to thank Crystal for supporting me in this process. She has an amazing podcast called Amour, Sex and Voyage, Love, Sex and Travel, and you should definitely check it out. Alright, tata for now, and see you soon for a new journey.